Hey there, welcome back. Oh no. Yeah, ominous rumbling. Please reset your PC. Welcome back to Immortal Unchained, everybody. I was sick for a long time, so there was a big gap in videos. But now I feel better. Now we're gonna talk to our friend Aris.
Go join with the monolith.
Okay, sorry. We're gonna go join with the monolith. And then we're gonna go talk to our friend Aris. How's it going, monolith? Okay. Cryptic as always. But I appreciate the advice. I had no idea where to go now.
The monolith is crippled still. One Nexus orb remains. Go to it and reset it so I may investigate what is affecting it. Clearly, some force is tainting the Nexus orbs, corrupting them, and in turn, the monolith. We can delay the monolith's decay if all the Nexus orbs are reset.
It's probably whatever's making that horrible noise.
Golan. He was truly one of the greats. The Prime were numerous, but only a few were able to stand side by side with men such as High King Narrow. How he came to be a guardian, no one can truly say. It is something that just is. I grieved when I heard what befell him.
I can understand that, but you know, he seems to actually have come out of the deal in a slightly better position, because now he can fly.
Cast your eyes upon your success. Orin, greatest warrior of all, graces these halls with his arrival. How fortunate I am. Indeed, he did not disclose all that he should have. You were deceived. Yet this is by no means unusual.
Buddy, I don't know if you've talked to Orin lately, but he doesn't seem to be all that there.
Failed at last. This beast of torment. What was now lost now simmers back into place. Giving thanks does little for the gratitude I feel. I can only call on good fortune to be gracious with you.
Well, he seems to be finding himself at least.
Take this key. Use it, with my blessing. It will grant you passage when needed.
Thanks, buddy.
What greater gift can a being attain? A just and solid reward for your lent hand. Why is the hum not abated? Have you any orbs left? Do not relent. I do not hear the pitter-patter of feet. Go. Do what must be done. Why do you let the hum cause this ache in me?
You kinda deserve it for being such a weirdo. But oh well, that's in a different continuity. Either way, the ghost of Orin is right. We have orbs to touch, and collectibles to find. The core sits at the absolute center of the cosmos. Portals connect the Grand Hall to the 9 realms through the stream. Boy. What I've learned from this Let's Play so far is that computers are very strange. Aris always felt a strong connection to the stream, and helped engineer the portals in the core. He was appointed as Keeper once the portals were opened. Well, to be fair, he's doing a pretty good job of keeping. He's holding down the fort all right. And for that, I suppose he deserves commendation. How are you doing, Bren?
Look on him, known as the wisest being of all. Yet he is helpless to stop this, to explain this. He stood at Naru's side, advisor to the King of Kings. He was sent to negotiate with the Azurians, but they in turn murdered him, sent back his head. What you see now is the creation of Naru, whether he is still alive in there, or only mere consciousness, no one knows.
Fascinating.
Should I simply accept who I am now?
Oh, don't worry. I'm still working on that whole memory restoration thing. I almost forgot we were doing that. But don't worry, Bren, we'll figure it out some way. One way or another. Hopefully we'll restore our own memory at that point too. So there's a bunch of chests around the edge of the area here that require varying levels of protocols and cipher keys, like the Prometheum Edict, which we still don't have. The stuff that's in these boxes is only unique in one of them. I think the rest have just generic equipment, but it will be very useful for the journey ahead. Before we head out, though, to our next destination, let's chat with Golden a little bit.
So you finally deign to say hello. With the connection between the Nexus and the monolith restored, I can project myself here. Oh, don't act so surprised. We Prime are a crafty bunch. 2 are sent. 1 remains. Clarity is near. I should hope you fare better in social interaction when outside these walls. Your silence now is deafening. Out there, many surprises await. Some as gifts, others as impediments. Yet, that said, I would encourage you to seize your chance, for time is limited. Oh, allow me to warn you. The oracles may seem uninterested and aloof, but it is clear that they speak in riddles for a reason.
Got it.
Poor girl. From jealousy to death to the underworld. And now, here. Her mind must be fragmented beyond repair.
Seems like Golan knows who Bren is, to some
How
extent.
I miss the days of the past, when heroes vanquished evil and life was grand. When Apex Citadel was the greatest feat of engineering in the cosmos. Oh, those were the days, when one could witness the debates at the Senate and be present in the very space where Naru did his bidding. Yet no king rules alone. Now there is no king, and even less a kingdom to rule. Oh, how I miss the days of the past, when heroes vanquished evil and life was grand. When yet now that...
Good news. Good news. There's a lot of evil left to vanquish. With my fancy pants knightly armor, let's go to that Apex Citadel being spoke of. And maybe we'll emerge a hero after all. Or at least emerge with a shirt. Yes, welcome to Apexion, everybody. Our final destination. And more ominous roaring and rumbling. My favorite. I can't get enough of it. It always inspires confidence in the journey to come. When the Azurians invaded, the Wardens were the one who held the line. Trenches filled with the blood of humans, but the Citadel walls remained unbreached, and the Prime were saved. Yeah, fat lot of good that did them. We're going to learn a lot about the war between the Prime and the Azurians during our time in Apexion. As I've mentioned a couple times now, we will be coming back here for a second round later. This is just our introduction to the Sky Path.
Behold, Apexion, once prized jewel, Prime, center of rule and order, nothing but chaos and death. The howling is best to avoid. I will weep for the state of this place, but faith brings me solace. The Nexus Orb is close to the main gate of the Citadel. Go, find it.
You got it. I'm a little busy at the moment, but I caught all that. We're good. So we aren't actually going inside the Citadel on this visit. We're just going to the front gate. Which, of course, I suppose is the first hint that this isn't nearly over. We got a long way left to go, and a lot of suffering to endure before we become the aforementioned hero and all that stuff. Apexion is brutal. Apexion is where a lot of players who have played this game start complaining on the Steam forums because they've run into a brick wall. By which I mean, the difficulty of this level is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of insane. And you'll see why a little bit going forward. Eldest of 3 siblings, Malog quickly grew to rival his father in power. Okay. That's a short but sweet one. Maybe we'll hear more about this Malog later. Anyway, yeah. Apexion is nuts, dude. It's brutal. It's relentless. Immortal Unchained is a great video game, but it kind of has a couple of problems when it comes to wildly swinging the difficulty back and forth between areas. Viridian, I would say, was a good step up from Arden, but Apexion is not a good step up from Viridian. The enemies here do a ton of damage, and even though our health bar is so crazy long now, we will still die in only a few good shots to our poor Immortal's dome, which still does not have a helmet. Although I guess helmets just aren't her style. Ignore our shirts. But we have a scarf now, at least. I like the colors of Apexion. It's purple. It's very purple here. You know, Arden was blue, Viridian was Viridian, and Apexion is purple. And also this nice looking seafoam green color. This game's use of color is very interesting. Like I said in I think the last episode, I'm playing with the color filters off, but it still looks very pretty. The beast unchained, a storm unleashed. The foolish pride of the Prime revealed as their unexpected doom. Okay, so I guess that means we're approaching ground zero then. Whatever caused this bullshit to happen in the first place is in or thereabouts around the Citadel. So we probably should make sure we're prepared before we head inside. That seems like a good idea. So the poison guys are back, and now they explode into ice instead, which knocks you over and slows you down instead of poisoning you. But it also does anywhere between like 1,000 and 500 billion trillion damage. I've never been able to tell. It hurts a lot if you get exploded by one of those guys. Believe me. Well, hey, look at that. We got a new cloak. This one's got some ammo pouches on it. I really like that each individual upgrade appears on your character. It's novel, but it also probably took a lot of effort to make all this stuff not clip horribly and make it all like, you know, make it all work. Oh, hey. I think I see the orb. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess now we know where we're going. At least, sorta, kinda. But first, maybe let's stop at this obelisk here. Honestly, I've made this so far look a little bit easier than it actually is, because Apexion was where I hit my first roadblock. Like, the reason I say it's a roadblock is because I know it is one, because it was a roadblock for me. I wasn't going to finish this game the first time I played through it, because Apexion is so damn hard. But I persevered, and I'm glad I persevered, because all it really takes is learning these new enemies and their tells, and then you don't take nearly as much hits. The damage they deal is still pretty ridiculous, and those little shield guys will be a pain going forward. But for now, we're pretty ready for Apexion as it is. I'm just using all my bit capsules here because I've been carrying around a bunch of them for several episodes now. And this is a good place to start using them. This is the last part of the first part of the game, so to speak. So, we're gonna juice up our inventory a little bit. The adrenaline rush of near death is incomparable to any other. The survival instinct of sentient creatures is not to be underestimated. Well, that's what you say about human beings, I guess. Human beings are endurance creatures. That's what we're good at. We're good at running away in a straight line very fast for a very long time, whereas other animals may get away. So let's see here. Got ourselves a new carbine. The Legion Elite Carbine. Specifically designed for silent raids, these weapons have the ability to siphon the life energy of their targets to restore the user's health. That's pretty important. This is a really good gun. This is the gun we got from killing that optional boss in the last episode. And a new sniper rifle. The rifles used by the 25th Legion are highly customizable to accommodate their users' varying statures and compositions. Standard sniper rifles use energy rounds and are accurate at long distances. Often fitted with silencers, these weapons are used by the undead to strike without warning. So, I don't know if silencers actually do anything in this game. There are some guns that have silencers on them, but like, I don't know if they... this game doesn't have stealth in it. Like, as soon as you come near an enemy, they know you're here. So I'm really not sure what purpose the silencers actually serve. The Wasteland Needlers. The original pattern Needler was designed by Deagonite hunters to endure punishing weather and rough handling. Crude and basic, they lack the finesse of other weapons, but they always work. There is no escape from these hunters and their hamstringing attacks. So the Wasteland Needler is... it's just your basic dual SMGs. We have the Raven's Talons though, so we don't really need it. So I just got rid of it. And hey, look, another shotgun. The Raider's Manstopper. Modified models of the hard-hitting Manstopper use armor-piercing shells, which, in combination with precision attacks, makes them silent yet highly effective against most targets. If used correctly, these weapons are extremely lethal and are used to pierce the thick hides of Beegor lava worms. Lava worms. That doesn't sound good. So I'm still mostly focusing on making a general character build here. It's important in Immortal Unchained to not pigeonhole yourself, because you can respec in this game, but there is no way to get more respecs. It's very limited, and they drop from specific locations. So you gotta be careful when you're putting points into stats, not to level up one thing too much, or else leveling up will be too expensive for whatever else you may want to put points into. I like the music in Apexion. It's weird. I don't know who's following me around with that violin, but it's, they're having a good time. I also like these crazy copper doors, like, and railings and all that stuff. The Prime have, or I suppose had, very strange taste in architecture. I really like these brutalist buildings. You hardly ever see brutalism in games, because it looks ugly. That's kind of the point of concrete brutalist architecture, is like, it looks imposing and scary somewhat, and like almost intentionally unappealing. But when you trick out your buildings with like glowing copper and purple neon, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. But still, I imagine that the imposing nature of brutalism is why these are brutalist buildings, and not like the usual sci-fi super future stuff of everything being titanium and reflective chrome. Oh boy, that was close. So I'm sure by now you probably comprehend why Apexion is so tough. It's because there's like no room to move around and you're surrounded by instant death pits that, oh, I don't know, a slightly more unawares player may dodge into and then get mad. These teleporting guys are a pain in the ass, but thankfully they leave like a little smoke trail in the direction that they teleport, so you can just kind of like watch it and follow where they go. However, their laser attack doesn't really... It doesn't really match the animation. It's weird. Like notice how the lasers aren't really coming out of the barrel of the gun, or at least the direction it's pointing? It's very strange. Like, they have the ability to fire these lasers sideways out of their gun, and it looks very broken. Also, there's just an exploding rocket trap here in the middle of this pathway, and I have to wonder, the people who put that there, was that there before or after the war with the Prime and stuff? 'Cause I don't know. I wouldn't want to have to walk around that on my way to work every day. A testament to the might of the Prime, Apex Citadel sits at the pinnacle of Apexion, the greatest city in the cosmos, housing both the Senate and the High Seat of Naro. I think I'm kind of understanding why other factions may not like the Prime. They seem pretty hoity-toity. Like, I don't know, like, if there's one thing I learned from Star Wars, it's that cyber future senates are kind of like the real Senate, in that they are mostly an unorganized mess of varying opinions where nobody really knows what they're doing. Oh hey, a new friend. Hello there, my Cyclops cyber friend. How are you? Oh, it's Naro!
I did not expect I should see another living soul. Everyone is either dead or gone. And yet, here you are. Familiar is your face. I know not why, nor do I care. What matters is my fate, that I will not go quietly into the stream, whether by our own hand or that of another. We bear chains. Be forewarned, if you did not set those chains, leave them. They are there for a reason. Say what you will, but they are there, searing their way into our minds. Do not sit idle. Time is but morning dew. It is but a flash, even when the land is not forsaken. Now is the moment to do what has always been but an ember in the back of your mind.
Interesting.
Everything, all I created, all I have done, gone. Nothing but a whisper, raging storm. Let it be known to all that I did not cower, but went head on into the darkness to meet my fate. Wherever the end may take you, tell them how I met my fate. Let them know I went proudly, even with the end so near. I did not give in. I fought until there was nothing left of this world.
Oh, but that's quitters talk.
I will be left with no regret, except the one I carry.
I applaud your determination, I guess.
You also hear the madness. It floats on the air, venting from deep within the keep. A madness I shall eradicate, or one that will consume you. The howl. It grows stronger with each bellow. Its heart filling with pain, with hate, with a desire to steal my last breath.
Right.
Do you also hear the mad howl?
Yeah, I sure do hear the madness. Hopefully, in time, we will come to deal with it. And I hope you'll be there, Naro. You're a pretty important guy to just be sitting around. I kind of like that. I kind of liked it in the cyber future apocalypse. Excuse me, in the cyber future apocalypse, you know, the seat of the throne doesn't really make much of a difference anymore, does it? So this is a weird shortcut. For some reason, you can like skip half of this area. When I climbed up that rubble earlier after I fought the very first teleporting guy, I reached the other side of that door, and you could just open it and walk through and skip the entire first part of the area. I really don't know why. I guess it's just there in case the player is observant, but it also serves as a loop back in case we happen to die, which may be likely, because this next couple of corners is a bunch of garbage. Now these shield guys they're a pain, because their shield doesn't take any damage, and they don't take any damage to their stamina when you shoot the shield. You can fire away at that thing all damn day. You will not break their poise. They have infinite poise as long as you're shooting at the shield, leaving your only option to run up directly into their face and try to dodge around them. But you might notice that that's not working out too well. These guys have like Dark Souls 2 style Lazy Susan spinning capabilities. So they're really hard to deal with because the shield covers essentially their entire body. There is really no way to take these guys out from range. It sucks. They suck. Like what I'm doing right now is pretty much the only way I've found to deal with them. If you have a powerful enough melee weapon, you can run up and swing at them, and if you swing a melee weapon with high damage, you can dismember enemy limbs, so you might just smack their arm right off, and then off goes the shield, and then they're useless. But with that shield, their defenses are nigh impregnable. Varen and Vorin never fought their brother for the throne, for they knew him to be the wisest ruler. Guess that's talking about Naro. Naro doesn't really fit the naming scheme in that case, does he? Varen, Vorin, and Naro. Why not like Vaurin? I don't know. Something else that starts with a V. I don't know. To me, it seems like he was the most fit for the throne because he has the most unique name. Also, the game spawns an exploding gentleman behind you there, which is kind of a dick move. Especially because they are virtually silent as they're running up on you. Anyway, that is yet another reason that Apexion is a very difficult area to handle. Because those shield guys, one-on-one, they're not so bad. But I think the game has assumed now that you understand what they do and how to fight them. So now it's going to start throwing them at us in combination with other enemies. And that's when things become kind of a problem. I appreciate that this game has a pretty good variety of enemies and tactics that you have to employ against them. However, I feel like some of them are a little bit tougher than others in ways that's not really fair. Like that. Just got shot in the back. The dick move. By the way, I'm sure you've noticed by now, but this episode is incredibly long. This episode is way longer than any of the ones that have come before it, because Apexion is actually the shortest of the 3 visits that we have. We're going to be finishing it in this episode, and it sucks because it's like just long enough that I can't find a really good place to cut it. But like, it goes on so long that it's just an endurance episode. It's a very long episode. But it's okay. one thing I like about Apexion is that it doesn't really overstay its welcome, right? Like, I think the developers realized that this whole thing about big square hallways and railings and open pits can't really go on forever and stay interesting. So they cut it mercifully short. Obviously, once we get inside the Citadel, when we come back later, the architecture is going to be quite different. But here at the beginning, it's pretty simplistic. And I have a feeling that's on purpose, because Viridian was a bunch of madness. Viridian just had enemies all over the place. So it's nice to do something simple for a change. Oh, great. That ominous roaring is still going on. Getting closer to the Citadel. Like, maybe they should have made it more friendly. Maybe that's why people didn't like the Prime, is because the Citadel just looks angry. It just looks angry and upset. Nice. Oh, wait. We got a shirt. The wisest leaders know when to seek counsel and when to trust in another's knowledge. None have been wiser than Naro. I mean, he did seem pretty wise. He was speaking in riddles, but they seemed like the type of riddles that a person who's, like, self-obsessed with their intelligence would speak in, where it's like he's just kind of babbling in words that sound smart. But it's okay, I trust in his intelligence anyway. I mean, this is a big city. Being a leader of all these people probably took some knowledge in doing. Echoes in the abandoned capital whisper of the coming doom of the Prime. Its inhabitants fled in despair when they realized the uncontrollable might of the imprisoned beast. One might say that they are some kind of immortal who was chained. Not us, not me, the person inside the Citadel. we are immortal and unchained. That's very different. I gotta say, this is a pretty appropriate time for me to be recording this episode too, because it is currently pouring down rain outside. This is the most atmospheric episode of a Let's Play I've ever recorded. I might as well be standing outside in the rain while recording this. Speaking of which, this seems like it would be kind of uncomfortable. I don't know, I mean, we have a shirt now, thankfully, finally. But it just doesn't... Like, maybe bring a hood, or like a coat or something. This is something I've never understood about video games, is that characters never complain about being out in the rain. It's such a common occurrence in video games. And yet, only now are we entering the age of giving characters specific reactions to being out in the rain. Also, something massively important just happened while I was talking there. In that tiny chest in a random corner, we just picked up the Prometheum Edict. I don't know what it was doing there. I don't know how you're supposed to know it's there, but we just picked up one of the optional protocol keys. I really don't know why it's tucked away in a tiny corner like that. Because we're going to get a lot of use out of that thing. There are a lot of chests and doors and stuff that can only be opened with the Prometheum Edict. And I mean, I guess that's their way of encouraging you to explore nooks and crannies and stuff, but there's not really even any hint as to where it is, so how are you to know? What have we here? Oh. Oh-ho! I spy an orb. And it looks like we've still got a ways to go. Great. Maybe after all this is said and done, we'll take off our cloak and use it as a towel to dry off. I don't know. It's just one of those things that's always bugged me. You know, everybody has one of those things that, like, irrationally irritates them about video games or movies or films. Like how nobody says goodbye when they hang up a phone in a movie or whatever. Because it would just sound awkward and interrupt the pacing of the movie. Like, it's one of those things where you get why, right? I understand why characters don't react to being out in the rain, because it would require a lot of work for something that really isn't all that important. But man, it sure is annoying. Now these guys, on the other hand, I can understand why they wouldn't care about being out in the rain. It probably feels good on their exposed cybernetic parts. You know how cybernetics like getting wet? I mean, I guess I don't have any cybernetics, so I guess I wouldn't know, but if I ever did have any cybernetics, I imagine that I'd probably want them to stay dry. Interesting statue. And an interesting, and again, very imposing, perhaps a little too imposing, grand old citadel. Unfortunately, the doors are locked, so we can't get in right now. Believe me, this journey would be a lot shorter if we could go in the citadel. But it's gonna be a long, long time before we come back here. Picked up another Viridian destroyer. They're pretty common weapons. We don't need those though. What have we here? For centuries, Apex Citadel served as a haven for the Prime and their allies. Now, fear of the beast has finally driven them from their ancestral home. Well, I imagine the army of cyber zombies probably also didn't help. But that howling is pretty imposing, to be fair. I mean, I also would be afraid of the howling. Because, like, imagine, like, if that was just a regular occurrence. Like, they've been keeping something or someone imprisoned here, and it just occasionally goes, oh, loud enough to rattle the buildings. That's probably not a good thing. You probably don't want that next to your house. It's like if Godzilla, it's like if you were living in Japan and you look out into the ocean and you can see like Godzilla's head poking up like the Loch Ness Monster. I would move. I wouldn't stick around to see what happens. Although maybe they were just really secure, or they felt secure rather, when it comes to those chains they were talking about. And I'm having a hard time speaking. I don't know. I guess it's because I haven't recorded anything in a while because I've been very sick. Thank you for sticking with me, by the way. I really appreciate it. It's bad, man. It's real bad. But I'm coping, and I'm glad to be back. Really glad to be back. Because I love this game, and I'm really enjoying doing this Let's Play. I'm really enjoying showing off this game. Got a new armor color. Yeah! Now I like that. See, the blue goes with our tattoos. See, look, we can dye the armor itself dark blue, and we can dye the designs pale blue. And now look at that. Look, we got like a little brown and blue color scheme going on, huh? I like this better than the green. All right. Well, it looks like we're on our way to our final destination. It wasn't too tough, but again, it's because I prepared for it. This is an unfortunate fallacy that people fall into when it comes to punishing in difficult video games is, as long as you're prepared for it, then it's not hard. Stop complaining. But the thing is, the first time through, you're not gonna know what to prepare for until you get there. So all this preparation that I've done is not stuff that I did on my first try, and I suffered for it. And it's unfortunate that it's balanced that way, but it's also a problem that is very hard for the developers to avoid. Now let's kick the ass of whatever's waiting for us down here, and let's go home. It's a shitty wizard. A cyber wizard. So if you've if you ever played Warhammer 40K, I guess you can kind of assume how these guys work. This guy is basically our introduction to a new breed of enemy we'll be facing very soon. He's a technomancer, and he has the ability to call down an infinite swarm of annoyingly difficult to target boss type drone enemies. The normal guys, they spawn normal they spawn normal wimpier drones, but this guy, the Soothsayer's commander, is a little bit tougher. He's made of tougher stuff than the eventual normal enemies we will face. He also does a lot of damage himself. I think it's kind of funny how he fights like a bullet hell boss almost. What with his laying a pattern of shots on the floor and all that. Honestly, this boss is a lot easier than the last one of Viridian. Like this guy, it's because he mostly stands still. I think, like he doesn't. He's not super aggressive. He'd rather stand back and shoot at you than run right up to your face and kill you in one hit. Although he does do an annoyingly high amount of damage. But it's not going to save him in the afterlife, where he will be judged for being a dickhead. And hopefully he will go to Cyber Hell, if Cyber Hell is a thing in the Cyber Norse world. I'm just gonna assume it is. Well, we did it. We got ourselves a big old frost mace and the Worm Hunter Lancer, which is not great, and another orb to touch. So let's do it. The Augur Nexus. Return to life and all that stuff. Huh.
It is done. Return to the Grand Hall. Carry necessary information. You must bring it back to the monolith. Make haste.
I'm on it.
You tread on sacred ground. The core was not open to all pride, so many went on a pilgrimage to the orbs and their guardians. Faith was less than abundant.
I can imagine why, seeing what happened in the end. Ah! Hello.
The prisoner arrives. Clouded, veiled is his approach. Something is amiss. It is the deviation, the disturbance, the blur which blinds us.
Okay.
Be at peace, sisters. The prophecy will hold true. It must. It shall. It will. Or see it the Augur Nexus would.
Would you care to tell me this prophecy, or?
We are the oracles, guardians of the Augur Nexus. Through it, we spy the future.
And what a great job you did of guarding it.
Now you see, many have tried. The weak were broken, the strong bent, but you stand fast.
Well, that's because I'm awesome.
The prisoner's strength has cleared the noise, yet still the view is clouded. Did you see what has come? Who truly is the one who set end in motion? Is the child an adult? Or the adult the deceiver? Does the hunter help, or say what needs to be said? Pressing matters are before you. Do not linger.
Agreed. You people are weirdos. Let's go home, shall we?